Okay, hello and welcome everybody. This is a roundtable with Ron and Ben, and we have a special guest today. See if we can get an audio check. Ben, can you hear me?
I hope you guys can hear me.
I hope everybody can hear us. And Donley, can you say hello to everybody?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for joining us today. So Ben and I, we haven't done a roundtable in. It's been a minute. It's been a few months. What, 5 or 6 months or so, Ben? Give or take.
Yeah, it's been like five months, I think.
Yeah.
Been a while.
So we might be a little on the rusty side, trying to get all the technical issues that we're having. I've done some upgrades on my end, and things have changed a little bit. So trying to get things back in action here. I just want to make sure that if Ben, are you getting anything on the feed? Do you know if we're?
Nope, we're good. We're good on the audio. I can hear all of us. So that's good.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So we'll try this format for today, and we'll see how it goes. So like I said, we've been Ben and I have been actually really busy lately. Mostly, well, trading obviously is first and foremost, and we've also been focusing pretty heavily on our mentorship program that Donley is actually a part of as well. So we're actually very fortunate to have him as a guest today.
No pressure, Donnie.
Yeah, no pressure. It's okay. Ben will be easy on you. I'll be quiet. If I can just kind of get some kind of a feedback from people on the outside we've got about quite a few people actually in. If you can just say hello, just to let us know that everything is A-okay. We get good audio and good video. I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Hi,
the audio
John.
sounds good
Hi,
on my end.
Mark. Perfect. Okay. Adrian's saying that we're good. Excellent.
Remember when we first started these things? Oh, we had so many audio problems.
Oh, it was
Please
crazy.
stand by it.
Yeah, it was audio problems. It was delays. It was crazy. It was
a bunch of
nuts.
stuff.
They were fun to
hopefully,
watch,
yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny if you watch the first one, how things have evolved and transitioned, which was it's kind of nice. Anyhow, so we've been working on the mentorship program, which is actually growing daily, which is really nice. And we've had some really, really good success coming out of it. We have just surpassed the 100 PA milestone, Ben?
Yeah. So cumulative, like everyone together who's been in the mentor program, they've passed over 100 PAs. So it's pretty.
And for those of
cool
you who
thing.
don't know, sorry, Ben, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's pretty cool milestone for us to celebrate.
Yeah, no, it's great. And with that, keep in mind that there's people. And now, what a PA is a performance account through a prop firm. And for those of you who don't know, we use Apex Trader funding for the prop firm, and you have to go through an evaluation process to kind of qualify. They want to make sure that you're a suitable trader before they put their money behind you. And then once you pass, then you get a performance account, which is actually you get to trade and make money off of it. You're still technically paper trading, if you would, or in sim trading, but it's something that they track and they actually pay you based on your performance. So we've had people that have never had PAs before actually get them. They've been trying for a while and were not successful. And then once they joined the program, they learned some things and started polishing their skills and working on their psychology, which is a biggie, and are actually able to go through the process of getting funded. And now the next milestone is to go and get paid. And at the same time, there were people that were getting PAs and were unfortunately blowing them and not able to retain them, and through the program are now able to keep them and get to a point where they can start withdrawing money out of it. So kind of a two-phase double, I guess, milestone, if you would, for the people who are trying to get the PAs and for the ones that actually have them.
Yeah, and that's been going really well, I know. And we brought Donley on here, and he's been just really helping out in the rooms that we're doing, and it's been really awesome to have him. And I know that before you joined, Donley, I knew you from the Skype groups, and we had talked maybe just a little bit, not too much, but briefly. So I would say, how long had you been with Apex before joining the mentor program?
So I started Apex just about a year ago, about 11 months ago. And I started with you guys 3 months ago, I think. I actually went through and got my first 3 PAs and got them and had a really bad day, basically bad mental day. And those PAs went on life support. I called you guys up and got in your program and started working on the mental game. So, yeah.
So when you joined, and we talk a lot about this in the program, and we kind of have a starting point for everyone. So your trade plan, how was it before you came? How was your trade plan? Because I know for me, looking back, I would say I had a trade plan, but knowing what I know now and going through everything, I would be like, my trade plan was flimsy at best on a good day. What I thought I had. But now it's, kind of walk me through that on where yours was prior to it and where it is now.
Well, my trade plan was up here and on, some couple scraps of paper and, stuff like that. So it wasn't really a trade plan, right? And then I got into the group and saw some of the examples of other people's trade plans. And I went, oh, people actually write this stuff down and have bullet points and talk about scenarios of what to do when this happens. I'm like, okay, I need to actually make a trade plan. So, yeah, made a huge difference in that.
Yeah, and we stress that. We have some of the groups we meet twice a month, and another group we meet once a month, and we really stress that for the having the trade plans and following that trade plan. Because with everything we do, like in a professional world, like I build houses, and there's a very detailed, itemized process that I go through for managing the jobs from start to finish, and that's my professional approach to it. Successful doing that. And then, trading, there has to be a very detailed, methodical approach to trading. And only by having this trade plan that serves as the framework and kind of your guiding light for how you're going to execute that day, only by having a very detailed trade plans that you can reference during the session, before the session, and after the session, that's what's going to, keep you rooted when you're feeling like you're going to go off the rails. And there's a whole bunch of other things that can help you, but having that trade plan intact and very detailed can make the difference between a bad and a good day.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had one really bad day, and that almost destroyed all my PAs. And had I had the trade plan I have now, I could have taken a breath after a couple of these losses and maybe looked at my trade plan again. But since I wrote it down and I spent time with the trade plan building it, it's like I now know it intimately. So, that most likely could have stopped me from that downward spiral. So, yeah.
Yeah, and another thing we have in the mentor program is we have a scaling, a document talks about scaling, and for scaling up and scaling down as your account grows, you're able to, because if you, let's say you start with a 50K contract, no one's going to out of the gate start trading 10 minis right at the start. That would just chances are that would not end well. And so we have a document that talks about, at what profit targets do you start scaling in other contracts, or what your initial size would be. And then on the flip side, what if you come into a drawdown? At what price points do you start being a little bit more conservative, and by following that guideline, it really kind of gives you easy points throughout the life of your account on when to scale up and when to scale down. And hopefully, if you're following the rule, you have some positive momentum and you're slowly padding the account to where you can, tack on another contract, tack on another, mini or another micro, depending on, what account size you're trading. So it's another thing we talk about, kind of how to handle those PAs as you have them and how to treat them instead of
Yes,
just get them and, go.
right. Seeing that also was an eye opener for me, because I realized I was way overextended with the account size that I had. It was too much. And then you take those two losses, and then it starts messing with the mind. And had I not been over scaled or overextended, again, that's the mental part. It would have prevented that from happening.
Yeah, and that's crucial too, because the flip side to it is, let's say you do have a down day or a streak of losers or what have you. The whole idea is it's all about capital preservation, right? So you want to retain as much of your capital as you can to continue the forward progression, because the way these prop firms design it is they do have what's called a trailing drawdown, especially with Apex, that will basically come up behind you as you're increasing your profits. So and what it does is, let's say for example you have a $50,000 account and you take $1,000 in profit. I'm just using this, just round numbers, okay? So your initial trailing drawdown will start at 47,500, and once you're at 1,000 in profit, then it moves up to 48.5. Now, the thing about it is let's say for example you get into a trade that's got $1,000 in profit, and then you don't take your profit at the 1,000, and then you let it come back, and you let it take a loss of about $500. You still have a profit of $500 on that trade, but you'll find yourself with a trailing drawdown of $2,000 instead of 2,500 where you were before, because the trailing drawdown follows you up and it never retracts. So the whole idea, what they want to see is they want to make sure that you're always in an upward forward progression and not letting things dip. They don't want to, they don't want to see this whipsaw or seesaw effect, right? So one of the things about this document, what it was designed to do is, if for some reason, if you do get into a drawdown, it minimizes your losses because it scales back on your contract sizing so that you don't take these big losses and then gradually start to build it back up again. And then as you get back to the threshold where you need to be dollar wise away from your trailing drawdown, then you can scale back in to the contract sizing again. So,
Because a lot of the times we see, and the amount of people that, we've done in the mentor program and in working with people, over the years, people go through and they get the PAs and they, and I'm guilty of this, right? And so this is from experience talking and with other people, and you get the PAs, you get all excited about doing all the hard work to get the PAs, and then a week later, or maybe even that day, you have a bad day and you can't handle it, right? And then you make mistakes, and then you blow the account. So this document was created not only for the scale up when you get into that point, but also to scale it down. And you couple that with the psychology work and a solid trade plan, and that really helps, maintain that account, right? Because you pay the lifetime fee, right? Because the goal is to have that account for a long time. And so the goal is to keep that account under all circumstances, even if you have a couple red days into the drawdown, to be able to maintain that account rather than blow it and start over. Because a lot of people fall into a cycle of getting the accounts and then blowing them, and then getting more accounts, and then passing the PAs, and then, and so we're trying to put things together which we know are helping people to get past that infancy stage of the PA, and then be able to grow from there, and then be able to take withdrawals and grow the account, and then really leverage the PAs for what they can. Because if you think about it, even a 25K account, how many contracts can you trade with a 25K account? What's the max number of contracts you can trade? If you can trade 4 minis when it's all maxed out, right? When you get to that point, you can trade 4 minis. If you have 10 25K accounts, you can trade 40 minis on it. That's crazy, right? If you're able to successfully trade 40 minis, that's incredible. And so that's what we're trying to put together, is putting something together, program together, where you're able to pass the evals, get the PAs, maintain the PAs, and then grow the PAs to where you're scaling them. That is what has been our focus over the past 5 months. That's why we had a little hiatus, not because we weren't doing anything, but we were trying to work. And I know, and Donley, can talk to this, and he's been interacting with people in the room and hearing, their successes, and it's not all successes. There are people who have struggles. Like we all have struggles. I have bad days, I have good days, but Donley can kind of talk about this, kind of what the general direction of the room and the people are.
Oh, the room is great, because like today we celebrated a couple of people who had really good trades, and then we're also there for people whenever they either have a bad trade or something goes wrong and they have a error, whether it's unforced or not, and the group is there to help get the mental, or keep the mental game in check. And it's great with the calls too, because you can really focus down on having a hard week, and then you and Ben and Ron are dig down, well, why are we having this bad week exactly, and really get to the root of it and dissect it. And it's great to be able to do that with people who understand, who have been there.
Yeah, today there was go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, today hearing, people in the chat, it's like 3-0 done, 1 and done, trailed that. And it was last week, I think, we were on fire, like,
oh yeah,
called like 8 trades in a row that just win.
Yep.
Those are the days where you're like, if I just wouldn't have stopped and kept trading, it would have, I would have, you can't do that, right? That's why you got a trade plan and following all the rules. But it's really good to watch and hear people have that upward trajectory.
Yeah, hearing people too. There's 15, 20 of us in the room, and we're all looking at different things. So somebody will call attention to RTY as an IBS right here, and we can all click over and discuss whether we should do it or not.
Yeah, and it's the thing about it is too, is it's always like Richie was saying, we always trade for tomorrow, right? So you trade so that you can continuously trade the following day. So you don't want to get into a situation where you're trading and you're blowing your account and you're not trading tomorrow, right? Even though you can reset it, but just think about it. What if you couldn't reset, right? What if this was your only account? So how would you treat that? And that's the mindset that a lot of people lose, is say, well, it only costs, I don't know, when there's a sale going on and a 50K account costs you $33. It's like, if it blows, then it'll blow. It'll just get another one. But that's really not the right mindset to have, because you always want to try. I mean, just think about it. Just pretend if this was your real live $50,000 account, how would you treat it if this was your very own money that was on the line? Because I mean, that's where you should really be taking it. And when you're leveraging it across multiple accounts, that Apex gives you the ability to have up to 20. So I mean, if you think about it, I mean, that's that's basically what is it? 20 times 50 is $2 million you can have in funding. No, $1 million, right? It's what is it? Yeah, it's $1 million worth of funding. Yeah, it's $1 million worth of funding. So think about, how would you treat it if you had $1 million account, right? Would you still want to throw away money every single day? No, you'd want to preserve it so that you can build it up to $1.1 million and $1.5 million and so on and so forth, right? So you want to constantly, build the balance up on that.
Look for that one good trade.
Yeah. And again, these, just for those of you who are new here and are not familiar with us, and this is your first time, these aren't just arbitrary willy-nilly trades. I mean, these are proven, trade strategies that are in a proven trade plan that has been thoroughly tested and back tested, that has a X probability of success percentage rate, be it 75% or higher. And that's basically what we trade. So,
well, and what's great too is, nobody's calling out trades. We're drawing attention to the chart to dissect what's going on in the chart, where you guys are teaching setups and how to read the chart, not calling stuff out.
Right. And that's the big thing too, is because there's a lot of quote unquote trade rooms out there, even in the ER. We don't, well, let me rephrase that. There is a trade that's being called by me and sometimes by Lori as well, in the elite room, that are audibles that are based on the chart read. So what you see on the chart will dictate that there's a particular entry to go in a particular direction with some kind of a profit target in mind. Now the profit target's already predefined based on where your entry is. You don't just go in and then throw a dart on a board and hope that it gets to that particular place. So, and I was going to say something and I completely lost my train of thought, and that's part of live broadcasting. But yeah, Donley, you were saying that we don't call out trades. This is not a trade calling service. It's not a trade calling strategy. It's not a trade calling community. It's basically teaching you a trade strategy and working on a trade plan that will make you a long-term successful trader if you do what it takes.
Right.
And you have to be willing to do what it takes. And sometimes a lot of people, myself included, when I first started, carry some bad habits in from either prior coaching, prior trading. Yeah, I know we've never done that, right? Prior coaching, prior trading, prior trade setups that did not work as well. Yeah, it's just it's basically all put together. I'm just reading some of the comments that people are saying. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the comments. The squirrel that Richie, yeah, the squirrel trade has been really good. It's a really good trade, and I know that I've taken a number of them, and it's going they're going good. One of the things, and Donley can talk about this, is as the market, because the market conditions are not always the same. And not every, you could have a setup one day trading at like 80%. You look at it and you're like, wow, this traded at 80%. And then the next day it could trade at not 80%. Or maybe that week it's trading 80%. The next week, it's not. And in a lot of our previous videos, and we talk about simplicity a lot. And we still trade simplicity. But during the summer months, less volatility, less movement, right? There was less setups for simplicity. Then the simplicities weren't going as far as they were typically going pre-summer. And I know Donley, when Donley joined, you were trading simplicity was in your trade plan, right? Almost exclusively.
Yeah, it was totally exclusively. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That's all I was looking for.
And so then as the market conditions changed, like, we saw it, we talked about it in the room as far as, okay, simplicity is still in play. We still like simplicity. It's still a fantastic setup. But what we're seeing is there's less simplicity setups that are meeting our, criteria that we're looking for. So let's still have simplicity there. But now we're going to be looking for other setups, which we are always still looking for them. But then the focus was kind of diverted from the main focus being on simplicity to other setups. And then, the Lorax, which, that's always in play, the squirrels, and then you can kind of talk about that, Donley, if you don't mind, like that transition as far as having that trade plan from simplicity and then recognizing that, conditions were different and then, going to something else or incorporating other things.
By the way, when we were saying that no pressure, well, here you go. It's all you.
Right. Thanks for that. But well, it helps, grow the trade plan really, because you start with the foundation, and my foundation for the trade plan was simplicity. And like you were saying, it kind of dried up. There wasn't enough there. And again, the mental game, I was getting frustrated because day one there weren't any trades, and I actually loved that. Like, I actually went a day without making a trade, and it was according to my trade plan, so it was great. But then whenever I got into day 6 or 7 of that, then I started getting frustrated. But then remember, we have these other setups. So go into the trade plan, modify it, and allow myself to take the Lorex, going with simplicity, baby step it in, and then, incorporate the setups that are actually starting to come back alive, like the squirrels. They're working, added into the trade plan. When do you take them? When do you not take them? And follow the rules. That's the thing. Just add it in the trade plan and keep following the rules.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too that's really crucial, is that, like Ben was saying, is we were trading simplicity exclusively. And once we noticed that the way that we trade simplicity, I mean, because the setups are still there. I mean, there's a bunch of simplicity setups that show up. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to take every single one of them, especially the way that we trade them. So when we noticed that the way that we trade simplicity started to, like you were saying, Donley, dry up a little bit, then we would start looking back at some of the Lorexes. We focus more on the squirrels, and then there's going to be some more acronyms coming your way, like the IBS, and then the some of the audibles that Lori's calling, and the 5-bar setup that I've recently have been calling as well, which has been extremely successful. And it's always good to have multiple trade, I guess it would be like a setup strategy, whatever, in your arsenal, so that you always have something to pick from. And one of the things that I really like about the squirrel setup is you can see, and usually for me primarily, as a trader, for me, the way I trade it is, especially on NQ, is if I get into a simplicity, or not get into a simplicity, if I see a simplicity that did not meet my rules, but it is going, and I wanted to get in it, obviously I'm not going to chase the trade, and I would need a reason to get in it. If a squirrel shows up in that direction of the simplicity, seeing the simplicity as a whole, reading the chart and going, this simplicity could potentially go to this target. If that squirrel has enough room between the entry of the squirrel and that target, especially if it's close enough, then I will be more apt to take the squirrel. And now I actually got part of that simplicity where I can actually even trail. Um, most of the squirrels that we take do trail, which is good. And we do have a trailing ATM for that, which is actually really nice as well. So it kind of, the squirrel kind of serves a double purpose where it allows you to, obviously it's standalone trade, but if you're watching simplicity, it'll give you a reason to get into a simplicity trade that you would have otherwise not be in. And then you wouldn't be, oh, I should have taken this simplicity trade with, how many times have we done that, Ben? Oh, we should have really taken that short, but we didn't because it
A few.
didn't really meet our rules, right? So,
Well, and go back to the tools in the tool chest, even not just different tools, screwdrivers of different sizes, and a Phillips or a flat, and a number 10 versus a number 7. You got to get the right tools to fit in the slot.
yeah, because the last thing you want to do is get into a situation where you're basically, like I always say, put a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to force a trade. You don't ever want to force a situation. You don't ever want to, well, and it happens, right? I mean, if you're not focused, and this is one of the things that we talk about as well, I guess we're kind of sidestepping a little bit, but the length of time that you're trading, right? I mean, if you're in the session and you're 2.5 hours in, which is what the session is, and you're 2 hours and 15 minutes in and you haven't taken a single trade, you got to be really, really careful to make sure that you're still as sharp as you were when the market opened, because you don't want to get into a point where you're feeling anxious and antsy, and now you're going to force yourself to get into a trade because you have to be in a trade for that day, and you do not. And it's okay if you don't get into one.
The mental, it's what you guys teach. It's behind the scenes. The mental is everything. I mean, we can learn the setups pretty quick, but it's when to take them and when not to take them that's key.
Yeah. And we hammer the psychology part of it home pretty hard. We spend a lot of time. Yeah.
Every call.
Yep. And also with the traders individually. I mean, when somebody has an issue, Ben will focus more on the technical aspect of it, and I try to hammer the psychology pretty hard into it as well.
Yeah, and without the psychology part, nothing really works. Without a solid setup, nothing really works. So it's about combining all these different facets to be successful long term, right? Like anyone can hit the buy and sell button and win a trade. Like winning a trade is easy. Losing a trade is just as easy. Every trade with a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio has a 50% chance of winning and a 50% chance of losing. But only by combining a solid setup, a solid trade plan, and solid psychology are you ever going to see long-term success, right? If you're missing one out of those three, you're gonna stumble and it's gonna hurt. And even with those three pillars, you're still gonna stumble. You're still gonna have drawdown. You're still gonna have bad days. But it's so much easier if you have those three things that you constantly work on and are in place.
And have people to talk to about the bad days.
Yeah, and we talk about having accountability partners, and a lot of people in the program have kind of latched on to different people within the program, and they talk outside, and I'm talking to Ron all the time. I talk to my wife, use her as an accountability partner. I mean, it's like there's all these different facets to being successful that are important.
Does anybody have any questions in the chat?
That's always dangerous. No, I'm just kidding.
We gotta throw it out there, right? So,
Oh no, yeah. If there's any questions, for sure. You guys want to grill Donley? Feel free. That's
Oh
fine.
no, I gotta go.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, time schedule, phone call, doctor's appointment, something.
It's okay, Donley. Don't worry. We're only 37 minutes in. We'll try to end this thing before 3 hours.
Yeah,
All right.
We're getting towards the tail end.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, Donley. I know I just asked you yesterday, and you're more than willing to do it, and really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's
do I.
great.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, this group is fantastic. Anything I can do to help.
Donley, there's a question for you. What's your daily routine look like to get in the zone?
Well, I wake up, start the coffee, and open up Ninja and look at everything and open up the group chats and see if I missed anything overnight, basically. Check on the news. What do we have for news? And just wait, try to wake up. Oh, I forgot my most important part. I do have a little Google Slides thing, motivational type thing. Takes about 5 minutes to go through. And I try to look at that every day.
And then you start pushing buttons, and that's it.
Start pushing buttons. That's right.
Sure.
So for those of you who are new and are not familiar, let me try to raise myself up a little bit here. Well, there we go. The way you get access to the Apex tools that we use, there's a QR code and a link in the chat. They'll give you free access, and also give you free access to the Elite Trade Room that I'm in, and Lori, and we basically talk live in there. So if you click on that, and you can sign up, and it's basically free for the first 30 days, and then I think 30 days after that, it's for another $1 or something. So you'll get 60 days of access to all the Apex tools, and then you can learn about the Squirrel, the IBS, Simplicity, all the sniper setups, all the trades, get access to all the training. I mean, everything. It's all there. So I know somebody was asking about that, and somebody was asking, after boot camp, what's the next valuable trading and training in Apex? I don't know, guys. We can kind of open this up and see what each one of you, we can kind of go and talk about it individually. I think personally that mind mastery is something that every trader should go through. That course is insane. It's such an underrated, under talked about educational piece of information, that it really it puts you, it is designed to put you in the right psychology before you ever start trading. I think that should be like the first thing as a prerequisite before you even sign up for Apex, just to kind of make sure that you're in the right mindset, because trading it's not easy. Let's just put it this way. I mean, because if it was, then everybody would do it and everybody would be a billionaire. But it really isn't, and it's not. It's very, very difficult. It's a solo sport for sure. And like Ben was saying, having an accountability partner or an accountability group or whatever it is it's crucial for your success. I can tell you it's helped me immensely, having been by my side literally every single day. And I know that for Donley and people in the group, and it's just it's kind of you see a difference over time, right? I mean, because all this takes time. None of this happens overnight, and you definitely see a positive difference once you go through the process of having somebody that you have to hold yourself accountable and be honest, right? I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
Right.
you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to be, well, I took this trade, but I'm not going to say anything to anybody, you're only cheating yourself, and you're only lying to yourself, and you're only hurting yourself, because you're just going to keep doing that in the future. And then when the time comes and you're screaming out for help and you say, well, this has not been working and I can't figure out why. Once we go back and start peeling in the onion and say, well, how many trades do you take? Well, okay, you took all these trades, but why didn't you mention any of this? Why didn't you post any of these? Why didn't we talk about it? Why didn't anybody, why is it now that you're 100 feet deep in the water, are you calling for help when we could have probably prevented all this when you were just, your nose was underwater, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dominic.
I was just gonna say I've stumbled, or well, not really stumbled, but I've slowly purchased all the Apex trainings. And I think I started with Thrive, but then I got Mind Mastery, and then like you were saying, I should have got Mind Mastery first. And then I got Thrive. I've found use for all of them though too. I mean, even Sharpshooter, it doesn't get any love anymore, but I got Sharpshooter and went, oh man, this is definitely worth it. I love Sharpshooter.
Yeah, that's a good course for sure.
Yeah,
Really
but it's all, it's kind of funny. It's all in like, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So what do you take first, right? I mean, you're already in boot camp, you're already signed up, you're already part of the Apex, ecosystem, if you would, right? Then where do you go next? Well, again, I still think, obviously, if you can afford it, you do it all, right? Which is, I mean, what I did when I signed up with Apex, I went all in, literally, like within the first month, I was, lifetime platinum. And just because
as soon as I can get there.
Yeah. I mean, it's once when I saw it, I believed in it. I mean, I saw something that I knew for sure that I knew who I was as an individual and as a trader. And if I was to do what was expected of me within the Apex training, then I would be successful. And yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, but yeah, for sure. You definitely will get out of it what you put into it. And if you can afford all of it, then yeah. But if you can't, then you have to do it in steps. Then once you're in boot camp, then definitely Mind Mastery and/or Thrive. Thrive is more of an advanced thing, I think.
in that in the way that I wrote up, I don't know, a while ago, and then I actually recently updated it probably a couple months ago. Mind Mastery, you go through boot camp, then Mind Mastery, and then Thrive. Is how I listed it. And so, but yeah, doing all those, and I think the order that is important. You go through boot camp, you get the foundation. After that, you know the setups, you're looking for. You get signed up with the funding company, or you're trading your own money. So you have all those foundational pieces in place, and then do Mind Mastery and get the psychology in check, right? Like at the very least, Mind Mastery is going to be able to, put some guardrails on that lane, as far as the mental game. And then you go to Thrive, and then Thrive is really going to open it up and learning how to read the 30 tick and access to the Lorex, that setup. And I mean, there's too many things to list on everything that's covered in there, but that kind of opens a kind of a next level, training.
Well, and honestly, the reason why I got Thrive first was for the Lorex indicator. But actually, I wish I would have got my mastery first and then learned the components of the Lorex and started finding them on my own without the indicator. Because whenever I did that, that really helped me understand reading the charts better. I mean, the indicator is great, but it's kind of like, learning math with a calculator or without the calculator. Learn the math without the calculator and then implement the calculator.
Yeah, when Lori was talking about the Lorex, when it was still in development, I would message her and I go, "Does the Lorex have this and this and this?" And she's like, "Maybe." And I'm like, "That doesn't help." And I go, "What does it have? This, this, and this?" And she's like, "Yes and no." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I'm like trying, and I think we all were, right? And I know Ron was. I'm trying to put together. I'm trying to get information from Lori and trying to piece it together and. And
Yeah,
she didn't tell me. I found out, when the indicator was released. It's
yeah,
pretty
it
funny.
was funny because at the end, once it was released and then it came out.
I was like, oh yeah.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean, all that was, oh yeah, but the big like blindside thing was the TX on the 30. I mean, I
Yeah,
never would have
I didn't
expected that
spot that.
in a million years. And so, and that was a pretty big piece.
All right.
So,
Plus, similar with the squirrels with me, you and I heard Ron and Lori talking about squirrely situations. And I'm going, wait a minute. But after about 2 weeks, I'm going, maybe. So then I'm messaging Lori and same thing. She's going, no. It's like, oh. And one day I got it. And she's like,
yeah,
Yeah. Those have
it's
been
fun
great.
when we come up with all these new little trade setups. We have some really unique naming conventions to this stuff, and and I'll actually take credit for most of them. And it's fun. I mean, they're all Lori's trades, right? I just threw a name on it, just for fun, because we had to find a way to identify them, right? Because I mean, when Lori and I were talking in the room, it's like we're constantly testing new things, right? So needed to make sure that her and I would be able to see something, and we had to communicate with one another without, number one, drawing too much attention and not being distracting at the same time, because everybody, there's some people in the room that just they and it's just a rarity, but they just want every single trade that's out there. They just want to take anything and everything. That's just who they are as a trader, which is fine, right? So we wanted to, being aware of that. I, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's a good thing, and I most certainly don't want to contribute to somebody's ability to do that. So so we come up with some of these names, and that's what we say. It's like, yeah, there's a squirrely situation, and then it's like squirrel. So
Yeah, and calling trades in the ER, like, and that because there's between what 250, 300, I don't know. There's a lot of people in the room, and that if you like call a trade, there's going to be a lot of people. And I was in this boat when I first started, where it would be a trade was called, or even the inkling of a trade being called, I would get into the trade. And so that's, you kind of got to balance that, is people are going to take those trades. And what I always tell people in the ER is, unless you can identify the exact setup and trade that is being talked about, and on top of that, it meets your rules that you've put in place, like it meets your trade plan, only then do you take the trade,
right.
instead of willy-nilly hit the buy or the sell button, or take a trade that's not in your trade plan, or outside, or if you're done for the day at max loss or profit goal. It's like, well, they call the trade, I'm gonna take it. It's like, well, yeah, but you're done for the day, right? So
Well,
yeah,
even with setups like the squirrel, I have a personal rule with the squirrel that I think I'm probably the only one that has that rule.
which I like,
Right.
by the way. I hate to
Yeah.
stop you, but I actually really do like it, and I'm going to let you continue talking about it because it's something that I'm actually looking at, and I always throw caution when it comes up to, and you're going to tell us what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. The squirrel, my personal rule is I don't take them into new daily highs or new daily lows. I've been burned too many times with them. But then, people will say, squirrel's sitting up here, and I'll look and it's going into that new high, so I stay out of it. And sometimes they'll run and go, oh man, I could have made $200, but the next two or three don't run, and they wind up losing. So then I was like, that's a good rule for me. So yeah, you have to personalize it. And that's also why I like the ER and what you two are doing too, because you're not calling trades, you're teaching how to read the charts.
John Wright is asking a question. How much screen time does it take to be able to filter out trades?
That is not an easy answer to come to because every trader is different. I was a very stubborn trader, and I had lots of bad habits, but I also had tons of screen time. Like I know Ninja Trader inside and out. Like I can walk you through it and do almost anything on Ninja Trader, right? So I had lots of screen time, but I was also very stubborn and brought in a lot of bad habits and also developed bad habits that I was not wanting to admit were bad habits. And so if I say, well, it took 3 months, it took 6 months, it took it all depends. You can get some people come in and say, just tell me exactly what I need to do, and I will follow it to a T. That's very rare, but those people are gonna have less screen time to start where they're filtering out trades. And then some people go through the boot camp and are really successful right out of the gate. Some people go through boot camp and it takes them, there is a trader in our mentor program that hadn't had I don't know if he had ever had a PA, and he had been doing it for quite a while. And and now he's got his PAs and he's like 3 and done. I mean, he's doing, fantastic, but that was a long time. So it's all depends on the trader. Like how committed are you to putting in the time? How committed are you to following the rules? How committed are you to being disciplined? And so all those have varied answers in different degrees, which people are going to approach it. So there's not 3 months is the number, 6 months is the number, 1 year. I mean, it all depends.
And another thing too is don't forget, everybody sees different things. Excuse me. Everybody sees different things. And if I see something, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to see it right away. Right. So it's taken me, I would say probably, I don't know, what is it, like 2.5 years now to be able to read the charts the way that I read it now, where I can see a trade and within a matter of maybe 10 to, I don't know, 15 seconds decide whether I'm going to filter it out or not. I don't know. Wouldn't you guys agree? I mean, it's.
Well, I picked it up almost instantly, like 1 week after boot camp.
Ben's my
Just
hero.
kidding.
Yeah,
Just
well,
kidding. Total sarcasm.
that's why I picked him, because I knew that if I could be like him when I grow up, then
Heck yeah.
that would be great.
Oh my gosh. No. I would like this journey it's been difficult, right? But also very, very rewarding for me. But yeah, I butt my head up against the wall many, many times and very stubborn. And then also going back to what Ron says, some people are not going to see what we see, and then also sometimes, people in the mentor program, people are posting charts, like just chart. And it's one trader. he was doing really well, and then he fell into a drawdown, and he was like, man, I've just been losing and losing and losing. He posted his charts, and and he was trading right around deviation levels, and we're like, hey man, do you know you're trading around deviation levels like consistently? If you look back, and we looked back and pulled up all his charts, and there's probably like 10, 15 trades, and they were all around deviation levels. He's like, man, I didn't even notice the deviation levels there. And so he just, he wasn't seeing the deviation. And now, trust me, he knows where deviation levels are. Like those are highlighted on his chart.
That's like
He
the
knows
first thing he
exactly.
looked at. It's like, where's the dev level? Oh yeah, okay. Now am I going to take this trade?
The
Yeah, and
first
go
thing I
ahead.
did to modify my charts was change the devs to fuchsia and increased the size.
The size, yeah,
Yeah.
mine are a different. Mine are a little bit different width, so they're just a little bit bigger. But
Yeah.
and only by him posting charts and talking about it did he know that he wasn't seeing them. Because if you don't share, you don't talk about it, he could have just kept going down that path and keep taking those setups that are around the deviation. Now there are some setups you can take around deviation levels, but the ones he was taking should not have been taken around deviation levels. And so, but once he started seeing that, then that kind of, he turned it around, right? And so, yeah, it's all about what you see and what you don't see. But sometimes you don't know what you don't see until someone tells you.
That's right.
Ben, you want to address the question from, and I don't want to butcher the name. Is it Chubu, I guess? From your experience, what are the time market conditions collectively change? I've heard people referring trading during summer times different than fall or holiday months.
Yeah, once again, that's a more difficult question. I mean, there are typical swings in the market, like summertime trading, right? Now we're in the, wintertime,
Holiday
trading.
kind of
We're in the
thing.
holiday. Yeah, holiday. Christmas is what, like, 3 weeks,
What-
3 weeks.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we're in the holiday season. But one of the things, and we kind of touched on it briefly, is when we were talking about, when Donley joined, we were almost exclusively
Simplicity.
we're
Simplicity.
simplicity.
The
Wow.
hard word, the easy word that's hard to pronounce.
Mhm.
Simplicity. Yeah.
No, I just went completely blank. So no, yeah. So we're all doing simplicity, right? And then we noticed that the volatility dropped off and things changed. And then, it's one of those things that you got to be monitoring like every day. And you got to be monitoring the stats of your setups, how things are going, how the market's moving, where the market's, playing at. And as we saw the number of setups for simplicity decrease, and remember, this is not simplicity in a whole. We trade a very narrow window of simplicity as far as rules. And so what we were noticing is that there was fewer and they weren't going as far for us. And so then as we started to track that, we adjusted our trade plan, and then we started incorporating more of a focus onto the Lorexes and squirrels, which they were always still there, but the focus shifted because we knew that there was less simplicities.
Yeah, I've just been with Apex for a year and hearing people talk about the summer trading, the holiday trading, but it slows down a little bit, but there's still setups there every day. You just have to be patient and wait for them. And if it happens where one day they don't come around, that's all right. Tomorrow there'll be some.
Yeah, so as you monitor the market conditions and tracking your stats, you'll be able to adjust and accommodate or adjust. And you got to be as dynamic as the market is. You could have a strategy that worked great in the summer, but that just gets killed now. And so, it's something that you just constantly got to monitor and be aware of. So, earnings season. There's last question for what we're doing. How do you handle earnings seasons? Well, we avoid the news drops. I mean, that's
Yeah,
one
that's
way.
pretty
That's
much
one way
it.
to look at it.
Dark
You know,
zone.
Yep,
Yep.
dark zones. Earnings season is going to bring in, a lot of volatility. As long as we have that news indicator with Apex, so we know when those news drops are happening. And there's other websites like I think Financial Juice is what I use. So you just avoid we don't trade for Apex. We don't trade big news drops, and because it can be really bad. It can also be really good, but it's not worth the risk as far as having such volatility. So
Yep.
I mean, that's
And the setups they always come. They're a dime a dozen. Some days you get more, some days you get less, but they're always there. It's just like sitting at a bus stop. Another bus is going to be coming, or another train's going to be coming, or another Uber is going to be, whatever, however you want to look at it, right? I mean, use whatever metaphoric idea you want to have. It's just, there's always going to be another trade, period. You just want to make sure that you take the best possible trade setup that has the highest probability win percentage. And that's basically it. So, okay, guys, we have basically just surpassed the 1 hour mark, which I think is good. Dark zone, real quick: 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after either a major news event or the market open. That's what the dark zone is, which means we don't trade around that time. So during the market open, if you're trading pre-market, we don't trade 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after. And then whenever a news event is about to hit, we don't trade 5 minutes before it in case something leaks out, we don't get caught. And then 5 minutes after, give the market a chance to settle in. And with that, Donley, again, thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate you coming and being here with us, especially in such short notice. Hopefully we'll be able to do this again.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It's great.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
And I want to thank everybody who joined us live today. It was quite a few of you guys, which was really nice. I appreciate it. I want to thank all the questions that you guys were asking. Don't forget to hit the like button if it's something that you enjoyed, and also comment if it's something that you found value in and want to see more of, and also suggestions of topics that you'd like to see Ben and I cover in future podcasts. And maybe you'll also get selected to be a special guest with us as well. And Donley can tell you whether he enjoyed it or not.
It's fun being in the hot seat.
Save yourself.
Yeah, so run. And again, don't forget, if you are interested in the mentorship program. Let me throw this. Where is it? Where's that? Wrong button. Let's push the right button. Here we go. Unfortunately, it's going to be on Donley's. Let's do that. So we'll do that. And again, thank you very much for spending your wherever time zone you're in this last hour with us. I appreciate it. I know your time is valuable, and you guys have choices on what you can do with your time. And we are very, very fortunate and appreciative that you got to spend it with us. Any final departing words, Donley?
Oh, no. Thanks so much. I'm happy to be part of the community you guys are building.
It's an honor to have you, Donley. Thank you so much. Ben?
I got nothing. Just appreciate you being here, Donley, and also appreciate you, Ron, and appreciate everyone being here, all the questions, and I know a lot of you, and it's nice to see you guys here.
Okay, and with that, guys, we will wrap it up until the next time. And if you're part of the Apex community, I will see you guys tomorrow in the ER. And if you're in the program, we will see you guys in the mentorship program. And with that, we wish you guys a great rest of the day, and we will catch you guys all real soon.
All right.